Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor, and tonight I am joined by...
I'm Derek Helmer.
And I'm Justin King.
The Inspired Disorder podcast is an art and geek culture podcast. We record weekly on Wednesday nights, starting at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which you can catch us live on Ustream. We discuss topics ranging from tech to art, movies, video games, and everything in between. And you can check our podcast out Saturdays. We get them posted up through iTunes and other various forms. On tonight's show, we are going to be discussing a few different news topics and just some other tech-type things, starting with the Balloon Boy fiasco that happened this past week. Apple announced some new products, not new products, but new designs. And then a couple things with Finland, and then also just the music studio for the new generation, I guess you could call it. So let's get right into this week's show, guys, with the Balloon Boy. Now, my experience or my introduction to the whole Balloon Boy thing, I was at work and I went into the break room, and I couldn't hear the audio, but I see the news coverage of this, metallic balloon, like flying saucer type thing on the screen. And I'm like, okay, there's a UFO sighting somewhere. People are going crazy. And then, I'm sitting down listening to whatever podcast I was listening to, but watching the TV. And I see like small boy inside. The first thing that jumped into my head was Flight of the Navigator. Have you guys
totally looks like it?
And yeah,
one of my favorite movies of all time.
The way like the wind, like how it deformed the little balloon as it was going through, looked just like it. And they said it was this young. I was like, what the hell is going on? So anyway, how did you guys find out about the whole Balloon Boy deal?
I was at the body shop getting my last little bit of work done to my car, and I was just going through my Twitter accounts, and like most news stories these days, I tend to find it out first on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even see any video of it. I just read everybody's accounts of seeing this balloon, and actually that was a lot more entertaining. I'm glad I didn't see the video footage, because it was just like 120 people all talking about the Balloon Boy, and each one, oh my gosh, just like, did you see something drop? And so I just had the pure rumors of it, but it sounded like a fantastic story. But I was trying to picture it in my head. I didn't know it was like this UFO-shaped balloon. I thought it was like some sort of homemade contraption,
like hot air balloon type thing.
Like, well, or like, a bunch of balloons strapped to a chair, flying just up or something,
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was a little let down to find out it was just this homemade flying saucer balloon. But Twitter, once again, that is the news source.
Yeah.
And it's funny, this fiasco that's definitely developed over this thing. It's just like, it is such a movie plot.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, totally.
Justin, what was your? How did you find out about this whole thing?
Well, I was going through the Mojave Desert at about 80 miles per hour, checking my Twitter account when I heard about this situation. I was on my way to Vegas, actually, and yeah, like Derek, I found out about everything through Twitter by just random people talking about it, and it actually became a hashtag. There was a hashtag Balloon Boy, one word, and told my friends in the car about it, and kept them updated. Later on we found out that the boy wasn't in there, and once we got to the hotel and checked in, we turned the news on, and I saw the shape of the balloon and everything, and instantly I thought that it was somebody trying to just make a name for themselves, get noticed, some kind of possible TV deal. I mean, it reeked of that right from the get-go to me.
Yeah.
Really? You jumped ahead that far?
Well,
I mean, just the absurdity of it. I mean,
yeah.
For the boy to be in the attic the whole time, like once I found out that the boy was in the attic, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, how do you not go check the attic?
That was a little sketchy, I gotta say.
Well, when I like after I initially saw it and saw what was going on, I started listening to it, and they were talking about I forget which news network it was, but they were discussing how like the parents of this kid are kind of these wacky scientist people, like they're not all there really, and that they've kind of done these crazy things in the past, nothing like this extreme, but they were kind of hinting that it could be like some kind of stunt the whole time. But basically for anybody that did not, if you just crawled out from under a rock, it was basically was Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Or Denver. Yeah, Denver, Colorado. 6-year-old kid supposedly crawled into this homemade hot air balloon or whatever it was filled with. And then, it got released and took off and flew. And by the time it finally got down, they finally got it down. There was nobody in it. So then the news story went to what happened to the kid. Was he ever in there? Did he fall out? And then it wasn't until, I don't know if it was that night, I saw something on Twitter. I think it was probably that night. I was just checking on Twitter to see what had happened to the story, because I didn't know if they had ever found the kid or not. They did, and it was like a live interview on like MSNBC or something like that.
Wolf Blitzer was interviewing him.
Yeah, and he was asking the kid why he didn't, come out from his hiding spot when his parents were calling for him. So the dad asked the kid, and the kid's like, because you told me not to for the show. So right there, but and even, and Blitzer's, he's didn't jump on it really. He's trying to, get more out of it. Well, what did he just say? What was he saying there? What was his answer to that question? And then the dad just kind of stumbles over his explanation of which made no sense. If you find that video,
yeah,
it's the most
video.
ridiculous. It's I don't even know what the dad's talking about. And I guess they're still saying that it's not a hoax. Even though I guess now they're being charged with felony charges or whatever, which is good. I mean, how much stuff happened because of that, as far as how much news was drummed up and everybody, concerned for this kid.
Well, that it went national news, everybody picked it up.
How could that not go national? You have a flying saucer-esque thing with
there's a UFO-shaped balloon floating over Colorado with a boy inside.
Yeah, so that was easily could have. I mean, just the way they designed it, I'm sure they're like, this is going to be so awesome. It's going to look like a flying saucer. Everybody's going to freak out. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. The thing, I mean, it's crazy because it spread so fast. I mean, this is probably one of the few news things that I actually found out first on the news, not through Twitter.
You old media junkie. You.
Yeah. Well,
How dare you?
Yeah. But I was updated on the story from Twitter, so.
It got to the point where pretty much every person on my following list was tweeting about it. It got huge for a while there.
Yeah.
Which what would have been good would have been the CNN app for the iPhone. You probably would have been able to see video on that. I was just going merely off of. I think I saw some twit pics of screen captures and stuff.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. Balloon Boy.
Yeah. Well.
Crazy.
And the kid's name is Falcon too. So I mean.
Yeah. That's
perfect.
Awesome.
That's all you really need to say.
Apparently, the dad, I guess, was in talks to have his own TLC reality show, John and Kate +8 type.
Yeah, I heard he had a theme song written out for it and everything too. He was just ready to go.
Yeah, there was an article that I pulled up, and they were comparing how a lot of parents are using their kids for, to get rich, basically, and not get rich by having their kids act or anything, but just pulling off these crazy stunts, like the whole John and Kate +8 thing, just that whole deal. And I don't know. It's
the Octomom is another huge one.
Yeah. So they were comparing a bunch of these parents that they're kind of using their kids in different ways to get famous or get notoriety, which is retarded.
It's a recession, man.
Yeah, well,
what can you say?
It's reality TV. People using reality TV to come up big instead of actually producing something worthwhile. So more importantly, or more important to us anyway, would be the Apple announced some new stuff, new redesigns of products, and some new products in general. So one of them is the new iMac. They redesigned that. They also released a new Mac Mini, or re-released the Mac Mini and have a Mac Mini server. And then also the MacBook, the $999 MacBook, they redesigned. But the biggest, in my opinion, out of all those is the multi-touch mouse that comes standard with the iMac.
That's the thing that's making my mouth water.
The magic mouse.
Magic mouse.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about the new Apple lineup that they just announced?
You know, I'm a little disappointed that they didn't have a keynote speech for all this. Like, some of this stuff looks pretty reimagined, like, sufficiently enough that they should have done a keynote on it. A little disappointing that they just kind of release. They never talk about the iMacs on the keynotes. It's just like you just have these little quiet updates, on the Apple Store. All of a sudden, one day there's new hardware.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's significant enough that it should have been discussed. I definitely am craving that Magic Mouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the Mighty Mouse and I use it, but there's nothing wrong with it. But I see this and I'm just like, oh, I gotta have.
See, my big thing with the Mighty Mouse is the little ball.
Yeah.
It's like that was the whole reason they took the ball out of the bottom of the mouse and put in a laser or an optical sensor, because they get dirty and then they stop working. And that's exactly what happened with my Mighty Mouse. So now, right now,
3 of those.
Yeah, so now I use a Microsoft wireless mouse, which works really well. But every once in a while, it screws up or whatever. But yeah, after seeing that multi-touch, because last episode we kind of hinted at some mock-up designs that people have had of multi-touch mice. And this is one that, basically a week after we kind of hinted at that, Apple released one. So, I guess it's the new era for the mouse and the multi-touch.
Yeah. The new MacBook looks awesome. I have no interest in buying the cheap plastic MacBook, but they really did a nice job of making it. Well, it looks expensive now, Before it just looked like...
looked like their old MacBook.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay, this is just our cheapest version. But now it looks like it's elegant. And like it has the Apple design process. And even though it's still plastic, it looks like they really just rebuilt it from the ground up.
It does have the unibody design still, so no removable battery. I don't think any of their products have removable batteries anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
Which, I can understand a lot of people complaining about that. When I had my old cell phones, a lot of the time if they froze, the only way to to fix it was to take the battery out and then put it back in.
True.
To do like a hard reset. But with my iPhone, even the times it has frozen, I've been able to just force quit it, and it works just fine. Just reboot it that way. So I've never had the need to get it, remove the battery on it. And one of the good things about Apple, you can bring it in there and they can do it. Or there's websites where you can get into your stuff, which is kind of more
iFixit.com.
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very cool guys.
If you really want to void your warranty,
yeah, that's right.
But save some money, that's definitely a good way to do it also.
Mm-hmm.
But so as far as not being able to remove the battery, I've never had the need to with my phone anyway, because that's the only Apple product I have that has a battery that's battery powered. So
right. Well, my MacBook Pro is turning 1 year old next month, and I use the battery quite a bit, but I'm actually really surprised at how well these Apple batteries last. Like, I have iStat menus installed on my MacBook, and it's showing my battery health. After 1 year of use, it's only down to 91%. So the actual lifetime remaining of battery usage. Yeah. So 91, that's still pretty good. I'm holding like a charge of like 3.5, 4 hours sometimes. Cool. So it's, the fact that it's not a removable battery, like mine is the last model that has the removable battery. And I don't have a need for another one. It'd be nice to it's one of those items where I'm afraid that it's just going to disappear over time. Apple's just going to stop selling their official batteries or something. But, it's holding up enough. So for those that are complaining about, well, it's not a user replaceable battery.
Yeah.
This new technology that they're using where you can get 7 hours out of it. If it is in fact 7 hours, it's probably closer to 5 or 6, because when is it actually...
That's actually really good. That's like netbook battery life.
Right. I mean, my first laptop, I got an hour, and I was supposed to be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. The fact that it's not user replaceable, not a problem. It's cool. I have no issues with it. It would suck for a long flight or something, but hopefully there would be a power adapter.
Yeah, you can just get a power adapter. And that's the thing. It's like most of the time, if you're using it at home, you can plug it in. I mean, there's a lot of times when you don't need to be primarily on the battery source. So
the only time I do use a battery is when I'm in class, really.
Yeah. So.
And so I can do 2 full classes. I can do 3.5, 4 hours and be okay.
Yeah.
But, it's always a little nerve-wracking being on battery, period, when you're in class. Like, if I don't bring the power adapter, it's like I'm watching the percentage just drop in the corner. Okay, I just got to make it, another half hour. But I've never had it where it's actually drained out the entire day of classes. So it holds up nicely. So the new MacBook, if I were suggesting somebody to buy an Apple, before it was like I always kind of felt guilty that I was like, oh yeah, just buy the white MacBook. It's like if price is an issue, just get that. And I would feel kind of bad, like, well, it's cool, but not really. Yeah. But this one, I don't see any really downsides to the new MacBook.
Yeah,
it's got the same display as the MacBook Pro models now, and that LED display, and it's got the glass trackpad, which is super awesome.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to buy the MacBook anymore. It's a very cool little device, and so what if it's plastic? The new iMacs, yes. I mean, I want an iMac anyway. I've been looking at them for the last 6 months or so. I'm just never home enough. I'm always mobile, so it doesn't make sense for me to have a desktop. But I do like the new displays on them. The
definitely the LED, very nice. You have an SD card on the side there, or SD card slot on the side there, I should say. Yeah, very nice.
Little disappointed. One of the rumors was that they were going to actually have Blu-ray drives as well included in those, and that was one of those things, like, I didn't really expect it to happen, but in the back of my head I was hoping, like, just hurry up and just put Blu-ray in it by now, which the fact that they're 16:9 displays, they obviously intend for these to play movies.
Well, they sell movies in the iTunes store, and they do high def, although it's not 1080p. But that's why I think they don't have Blu-rays, because they don't want to.
They don't want you to use Blu-ray.
Yeah,
they want you to pay the money in the iTunes store.
You bet. Yeah, so that's kind of the weird thing. Why I don't understand why they put an FM radio in the
True.
Nano, because that's the whole reason of podcasts and the iTunes store is to get that type of content without getting it over the air, like getting it through their marketplace. Which there's a rumor that there's a FM transmitter in the 3GS that they just haven't woken up yet.
Which is it's bizarre to me that it's such a minor thing. Like, why wouldn't they have just released it when they?
Why would they put it in there to begin with? Like, they could have used that little bit of room for something better. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy it. I mean, I know that they say that there is the actual receiver in it already.
Yeah.
That was part of the actual chip. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's something they would do. I mean, I don't know what. Like, the Nano kind of makes sense, But I mean, are you really going to listen to FM radio on your iPod Touch or your iPhone?
I never listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Period. I don't listen to it. No, and you got Pandora. That's the closest thing you need to radio. Yeah, Last FM. So I don't know if I buy the whole. The iPhone is getting an FM radio, and honestly, I could care less. Like, if there's an update, I'll have the app on it, because with Apple, you won't have a choice. It'll be a native app that'll come with it, but I wouldn't intend on using it. I don't know. I can't stand FM radio, so it's like, forget it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other thing that they announced was the little Mac Mini Snow Leopard server, which there were a lot of rumors that they thought they were gonna kind of gear the Mac Mini towards home theater PC, which would have made a lot of sense because a lot of people use it as such. But instead, they kind of put it towards the home server type thing, which
is bizarre twist.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I wish they did the home theater PC, even though I have one that doesn't work right now. But I still would have liked to have seen that.
No,
because then I would just
it's
hit myself
logical.
some more for not waiting and saving up for that.
It's logical. They should have
Yeah.
done that, when everybody's, that's the only reason people are buying the Mini.
Or-
I can't imagine why you would buy the Mac Mini as a server. It's not like it has that much horsepower where you'd want it to be your server.
Well, it's not the server. I don't think needs that much horsepower to begin with. It's just serving.
Well, I
data,
have little
so-
experience with
Yeah,
my
I do too, but I don't know. I don't think. I don't think you need a lot of processing power for a server for just like homes, because it's not actually doing anything. It's just kind of piping everything out. So, which, I mean, from what it looks like, 2.5 dual core processor, 4 gigs of RAM, only a 500 gig hard drive, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but Mac Minis are cool, man. I was kind of hoping, even if they didn't do like a home theater one, they just put like all they need is just, instead of a DVI, put an HDMI port, and instead of like a headphone jack, put an optical.
That's
definitely
too.
no HDMI still. It's
And then you're
very
done.
strange.
But well, I mean, you can still go DVI to HDMI. So,
That's true.
But there's no digital audio output, which is retarded.
Lame.
I don't know.
So all you're getting is that 2-channel sound, and it's just
Yeah.
dumb.
I mean, they have external USB sound card things you can get, but that's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the lineup, and then they're all pretty much, they beefed up the power on all of them as far as performance wise, and then they're all greener. I don't know about probably not the MacBook, but the iMac, they like a lot of Apple's products, they're making them environmentally friendly, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Apple for that, as
Yeah.
always.
Which seems to be a big thing these
Yeah.
days with them. That's their whole MO. is
Yeah.
We're green.
So, cool. So moving on, Justin brought this to our attention last week as we were finishing up last week's episode. So why don't you tell us about it, Justin?
Well, basically, Finland has gone and made broadband access, internet access, a legal right. Starting in July 2010, every person in Finland will be guaranteed a 1 megabit broadband connection, which is a first in the world. And it's something that's pretty crazy. I mean, Finland's not that big of a country. They only have about, I'm looking right here, it's like maybe 2 million people in the whole country. So compared to what it would take for the U.S. to do something like this, it's a much broader scale, obviously. But It's still cool that a country is finally out there saying, you know what, let's make this a legal right so every person has access to the internet and what the internet can do for you and all the information that's available and et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's the first step to hopefully a brighter future for
Well,
internet.
not only that, they're starting at 1 megabit by next year, and then by 2015 they want to roll it out to 10 megabits.
Yes, definitely.
Which is crazy. It's
Not for free. That's pretty wild,
So
definitely.
I think ours are at my place. I have 5 megabits down, but I mean, you never get that. Like, I think I've topped out at like 3, and that's rare. But having 10, that's just ridiculous.
Well, whenever I test anything, like I can test at 5, but when it comes to actual real world usage, it's never quite that.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that it's Finland that's taking this first big step and making it illegal right. I don't know. I didn't see them being the ones, but I don't know. Them Europeans, this should be the mandatory law everywhere because, I mean, it's obviously that's the route that everything is taking, is that it's going broadband. That is the source where you're going to get all your information from. So it's just a matter of time that all governments kind of go this route. But very cool.
Well, and then just compared, I mean, let's see here. Who is that? Norway?
Finland.
I'm trying to find them on this graph. Of course, I have to do this like while we're doing the show.
Hell yeah.
Well, anyway, there's this graph that I'm looking at, and it has the average broadband usage or speeds by country, and we're like in the middle. We're by Denmark, and we're between Denmark and Germany, and we're probably like 8, it looks like. And then, but I mean, as you go up, Like it kind of gets a little bit bigger as you get to like Netherlands, Portugal. They're at about 10, and then it jumps up to about 20 in France or Sweden and oh, there you go, Finland's at 20.
20 megabits?
Yeah, that's their average. So that's probably why they already have awesome broadband. So like, well, let's just make it for everybody. And then Korea and Japan. Japan has 60 megabits, and then Korea is like 45.
That's crazy.
So we're
Imagine.
way behind.
I heard that that applies to their cell phone networks as well.
Yeah. So, man, it's just, I don't know. Well, I guess part of that could be depending on when you set up your infrastructure. If you set up your infrastructure like you don't have anything and you're building it today, it'd be a lot easier to build a backbone that can support a lot more than trying to upgrade what you already have out. There's no reason why we're not up there with Korea and Japan.
Yeah,
or at least France and the Netherlands.
So we're ahead of China though, right?
We're ahead
of China.
Where's China? Is China on here? UK? I actually don't see China on here.
Really?
Not on this. Not on
well,
this.
With the way that China regulates their internet in general, I doubt they have a fast connection.
Oh yeah, it's got to be probably 1 megabit.
Yeah,
probably if that.
But yeah. So although we're really close to Mexico, and Mexico is the worst, only Greece has slightly slower. But I don't know how accurate this graph is that I'm looking at. So
well,
I just, on the spur of the moment, I'm like, I remember hearing or seeing a graph on that, and so I thought I'd try and bring it up real quick. But yeah,
well,
go ahead.
What's interesting is that with all this, okay, so Finland's getting mandatory internet connections, and then in our neck of the woods, we're imposing these broadband caps, these bandwidth caps. It's just ridiculous, that we're worried about, 250 gigabytes. Well, the rest, I have no idea what the rules are over in Japan. Can you imagine if they had caps at that speed? That would be such a waste. Well, I'm pretty sure they don't. But.
The way all the different industries are going, how everything's eventually going to be streamed over the internet, capping bandwidth is not going to work. There's no way it's going to work. That's basically the ISPs going, oh crap, nobody's watching TV anymore because Hulu and Netflix and stuff. So we need to, or they think everybody's stealing it. But it's just them trying to make more money, trying to keep. But I think there was a thing passed where they can't do that. I think Comcast, the FCC or something, said that they're not allowed to. I think it was throttling, maybe not capping.
Throttling, yeah. That's the issue at hand.
So
technical deal for that.
But yeah, there's no reason why we can't have that. And even I remember when they were doing the whole they were auctioning off that wireless spectrum. What was it, last year or 2 years ago? And Google made a big play for it. There was a lot of talk that Google wanted to make it just open, so anybody can. It'd be free Wi-Fi, but
yeah,
that was more just rumors. But
rumors, but it seemed feasible given Google's
exactly
methods.
So I don't know.
It's too bad.
To think of the speeds that I'm downloading at today compared to when I first got my computer 10 years ago, on Napster downloading, if I was getting a song at 3 kilobits, I was stoked.
Yeah.
And now it's if I ever downloaded music, I can get a whole discography faster than I could get one song 10 years ago. So
aren't we just a bunch of whiners? It comes down to it.
Yeah. Well, I really don't have any problems even with, my connection right now. So I don't necessarily need, although I could imagine that some of the technical difficulties that we have from time to time are because of, our pipe isn't big enough. I don't know. Yeah. I just imagine getting 1080p video with 7.1 surround sound. That requires a large pipe, and right now we just don't have the pipes for it, or not everybody does. So the more we can get more broadband and stuff like that, higher speeds, the more likely it is to where we're going to get Blu-ray is going to die basically, and we'll just get everything streamed to our TVs. Everything will be on demand at like super high quality. So I mean, now that a lot more content is going online, having faster speeds is just going to help that content get better.
IPTV.
Exactly. Like Hulu.
Hurry up and widen those pipes, damn it.
Exactly.
We want to be famous. We want to be in every living room across the nation.
Yes.
And then another story last week, exactly the same time almost. Derek found this one. Why don't you intro us into this little gem? Okay.
Well, USA Today did an article, or a web article, on musicians ditching studios for tech, which is pretty much there's no need for the recording studio anymore at this point, where you can literally mix and edit everything all on your Mac pretty much these days. They say Mac because, well, Macs are the standard pretty much in the industry. That was actually one of the real issues why I was determined to get a Mac, even as much as about 6 years ago. I started taking great interest in it because I knew that a lot of the standard software that I'm into music, but really what I want to do is sound for film. And they're really closely related, obviously. It's all audio, the audio business. Anyway, all the major things that are done, it's always on a Mac. It's just like if you were doing video editing, it's always on a Mac. Anyway, it's become good enough where even Apple's GarageBand, which comes with your brand new Mac, that musicians are actually just using that to create their music. This show is being recorded on GarageBand
currently.
So,
yes.
Yeah, as we speak.
I record, edit, and produce or export through GarageBand.
And it's like, I mean, it's definitely it's an all-in-one app, GarageBand. It's really useful, but the fact that it comes free on your Mac, I mean, if you had to buy iLife, it's really not much. How much is iLife? Is it like $99? I think if you were 79.
Okay,
79.
yeah.
That's it for the suite. But the fact that it comes with your computer just right out of the box, it's just amazing. Like for the quality that GarageBand is. Anyway, Taylor Swift, is saying that she will do her demos through GarageBand, and she's just recording using the internal microphone on her MacBook. Nothing, no professional. Like we probably sound more professional with our blue snowball microphones.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, I mean she's
well, you guys, anyways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So true. But
maybe quality wise, but not content wise.
Not content. Yes. Taylor Swift is rubbish. You can't carry a tune like I can on my snowball mic. No.
Oh, let's hear it.
Maybe next time. I've talked myself into a corner now. Anyway, so there's plenty of musicians that are, not saying that the studio is dead, but I think that we're gonna see in the near future the same way that it's. I think the studio would be considered as old media. Yeah. That there would be no need for going into it. The only thing I could definitely see what you would gain in the studio is the fact that you would have a sound isolated source. Soundproofing. That's literally the only thing I can see. If you had the microphones, which are another thing about renting a studio, is they tend to have all the mics, which are very costly. Anyway, you have access to it, and that's it's really, you're paying when you rent a studio. You're paying for the rental of the hardware is what it comes to, not necessarily the time of of the mixer or the editor. That's extra. So if you could bring that yourself to the table, if you did the mixing yourself, which is easy enough. I mean, wouldn't you say, Ray, that it's I'm not sure what your experience is in editing the podcast.
The editing I do for the podcast is extremely basic. Like, it's only a single track. So I wish I could record, like, if I could figure out how to record each of our voices on a separate track, that would be like amazing. But it's just all in one track. So it's super basic editing. So I haven't done any kind of, I wouldn't even attempt to edit like a song or produce a song at any point.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've played around with loops before, and I've done a few songs like in the past with just like putting loops together and stuff like that. But I've never really gotten into audio editing as much as I have like video or, you know, obviously image editing. But Justin has some experience with recording music or music in general, yeah?
I do, yes. I was in a band for about 4 years. We broke up back in '02, but I remember us recording our first few songs on a cheesy little 4-track recorder. So going from that to not even 10 years later, the ability you can do or the things you can do now with, you know, like what they're describing, this Geo device for, you know, $395, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I remember Pro Tools coming along about maybe 4 or 5 years ago and that changing the game up. But now this seems like this is the next big step in that kind of series of, you know, devices. So exciting times, definitely.
Well, I mean, Pro Tools is still the norm. It's the standard in the industry that you use that. But, you know, Apple has their version. I mean, GarageBand is just the introduction, obviously. What they have is their Logic Studio, which is $499, which is still cheaper than Pro Tools. There's different like flavors of Pro Tools that you can get. Yeah. You know, different price ranges, but generally starting off at about $200 on up. But Logic Studio, I've only touched it a few times. I've used Digital Performer a lot. I took a few classes of it last year, so I'm fully trained in Digital Performer, which is really primarily for music, as well as like Apple's Logic and Logic Express. That's their music suite, but it also has functions for, you know, doing sound editing for video and film, which goes along with their Final Cut Studio. I mean, their app is called Soundtrack, which comes in Logic Studio and as well as Final Cut Studio. So that would be for the actual sound editing. But getting back into the music side of it, their Logic Studio is it's pretty much on par with Pro Tools. And the only reason that people would use Pro Tools is just that it's the standard, it's the norm that you would have. You know, if you were to transfer files. What's that?
It's like Photoshop for audio editing.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you had to send files to your audio engineer, you know, who's in the studio, you record it at home, it just makes it a lot simpler to use Pro Tools still, because that's what he's going to be using on his side. But Logic Studio is definitely, you know, as I'm comparing the specs, there's really not a whole lot different between that. It's just a digital audio workstation. But, you know, it's just really cool to think that musicians are seeing this side of it too, that you don't need to go into the studio to get it. You know, you can do it all from your home. And
you bet. Yeah. That's one thing with the technology. I mean, doing any of these things isn't like anybody can just jump into it and do an amazing job. Like there's you have to learn a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have the willingness to learn and to like teach yourself or like take classes or whatever, once you learn it, well, one, it's easy to play around with it because just getting software and stuff like that, you don't have to get tons and tons of hardware. So, I mean, it's definitely a more accessible route to getting into that type of industry than it would have been, 5-10 years ago. But yeah, I was doing some graphic design work for a band a few years ago, and I went down to meet with them to go over some stuff while they were recording. And in the studio where they were recording, basically it was like, studio setup, mics and everything. But in the editing bay or wherever the control room was 2 big Apple monitors and a couple, Mac Pros. And they had everything on the screens. Of course, they had the dials and all the levels and stuff like that were all analog controlled, but it was all controlling, the computer side of it. So it was all basically, instead of having a virtual soundboard on your monitor, they had, real soundboards.
Right.
It's basically the same setup that you would get as if you just had, MacBook Pro with, a virtual soundboard. It's just you control it a lot differently. It probably not as easily as if you had the analog, in real life soundboard.
And that's the only reason why you would have the big mixing console is that it's just, you don't have to scroll around to get to it, and you don't have to, it just saves you a few mouse clicks if you have the hardware. I definitely prefer when I was, taking classes and in the recording studio, you would be a fool not to want, to have the actual soundboard console with you. But, every one of those functions, it all works just as well on the app. So you don't need it.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously another thing with the recording, which you mentioned already, is, the sound, getting good sound quality into the mic. So being in a studio, you don't get echo and stuff like that. It's all soundproof, which another interesting thing, the website I talked about last week, Instructables.com, there's a thing in there to make a room soundproof, like professionally soundproof, like to where if you own a house, you'd have to do this in a house, like to the point where they show you how to raise the floors on insulation to keep the vibration and like put fake. It was like a really in-depth how to like basically build a studio from scratch in your home. So I mean, there's ways, like if you really want to get into it and like do a full-on studio, like professional studio in home, you can like these tools are like available for just the every person if you want to get your hands dirty.
Mm-hmm. Which I would totally love to do. I would love to do that just for even a home theater. That'd
be awesome.
If I didn't have to worry about disturbing any neighbors. That's
why you'd have to have a house, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, apartments.
Like, I couldn't even do it in my condo if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I could, but it'd be really stupid.
And your neighbors would be on our shit instantly.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They don't sound like they're too sound friendly.
That and the resale value of a condo with a sound studio in it. I don't think there'd be a lot of people in San Diego looking for that.
The rest of the world just don't appreciate.
I know. Jeez, man.
Excellent quality
projects. In the ad, you could list 2-bedroom asterisk. 1 bedroom is music studio.
Yeah.
Right.
Professional studio.
Yeah, I mean, I know they make products for temporary use of soundproofing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's little things you can do, but this was just it. I was looking for basically because playing Rock Band in my living room causes playing the drums causes a lot of sound, so I was looking to see how I could soundproof the floors.
Yeah.
And I was looking for DIY stuff on Instructables, and I came across that, which obviously I wasn't doing, but it was really interesting. I remember clicking through it. But yeah, there's like you can go pretty in depth if you really want to.
A really simple setup that would help is if you had a mattress and you put that on the floor and you put a wood board over the mattress and you set up your stand. You're going to get some bounce in it, but that would eliminate a large portion of the sound.
Yeah, I got a little pad that I can use, but I just don't play it anymore.
Yeah, enough.
But, yeah. All right. So now we'll go into our weekly recommendations. Some games or apps, movies, magazines, books, something that we're into that we want to recommend to our listeners to check out. Derek, why don't we start with your recommendation for the week?
Okay, I'm gonna get out of this habit, but I'm in this rut of always using an iPhone app.
No.
So once again, an iPhone app, and this is actually I have reasons for this. It goes with everything else we've been talking about tonight. It's an app called Fire, and it's made by Audiophile Engineering. What it is, it's a portable field recorder for your iPhone. Now, portable field recorders usually are hard drive recorders these days. They used to be DAT recorders. Pretty much, if you'd see a guy with a boom microphone on set, he'd be recording on these portable field recorders. So this app makes your iPhone a complete portable field recorder, and it's professional quality. This whole thing is geared towards using it for professional sources. It records at CD quality sound, so you are sacrificing that you're not getting like DVD quality sound or even HD audio
or lossless.
Lossless. Well, actually, it's recording in a WAV format or AIFF.
Okay.
And anyway, you can export these recordings through FTP or a web server. I was just using it through HTTP, where you would just connect to through your Wi-Fi network. But really professional quality sounding stuff coming for it. The app Fire, Fire. It's $5.99 in the App Store.
Okay.
I intend to use this actually on Sunday while I'm at the U2 concert in LA at the Rose Bowl.
Nice.
I hope to record the show, at least as much of it as I can, given battery life.
Oh, did you get the Mikey?
Yes.
Nice.
So hopefully
There you
this will
go.
sound pretty bitchin'.
Because that has the
Nice.
setting for like concerts and stuff.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And this app is designed to work with your internal microphone, but it's really recommended to use with Mikey
Nice.
or the Alesis, I think it's Pro Track Recorder, I think is what it's called. So it's really made to work with a high quality microphone because it's recording it.
Yeah.
WAV files or AIFF. And it works just like it would as if you were editing in GarageBand or Pro Tools or something. It's like you're recording a waveform, you're seeing the waveform, you're seeing the levels. It's really simple to use, but it's just the quality that you're getting out of it. It's the best that I've seen. So for $5.99, you really can't beat what you're getting out of it.
Nice.
I also got it because as I do intend to work, in film sound one day, I really wanted to start collecting my library of sounds, just this catalog that I could have of high quality sound effects. So I thought, I always wanted to get a DAT recorder. And then as those kind of gave way to hard drive recorders, they're still like they start at $1,000. And that's not including the microphone that you would have to purchase with it. So, the microphone would be like another $1,000. So this is a really efficient, convenient way for me to start recording sound. And actually, the way it works is that you can catalog it, and it's really organized. The way you can catalog your sounds, you can tag it and put it in special little folders. It's not your just run-of-the-mill like audio recorder for the iPhone. It's not like a voice memo thing. I mean, it's geared towards the professional. So, Fire from Audiophile Engineering, available on the App Store.
Awesome. For show. Justin, what's your recommendation for the week?
Mine, well, like Derek, I also have fallen into sort of a iPhone recommendation kind of funk. But there's one more I need to tell people about that it just came out maybe a month ago. That's pretty amazing. It's called Red Laser. It's basically the iPhone's first true official barcode scanner that works for...
Justin, I'm going to have to stop you right here. That was Derek's first recommendation.
Oh, no way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I thought that was a joke.
I had a feeling that it was talked about already, but
I think that was the episode you were drunk, and then it just
Justin, if you want me to go, I'll give mine, and then you can go with a different one.
Well, this is a good point because
I thought you were joking at first. I was like, okay, when's Justin? Just kidding, guys. I was just joking. Oh man,
damn it! All right, fuck.
Here, I'll go while you think of something that we haven't already recommended.
We haven't talked about Pano yet, right? The panoramic application.
No, we haven't talked about that.
Okay, well that one's pretty crazy.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, might as well do that one. Yeah.
Okay. Justin, what's your real recommendation for this week?
It's going to be an application called Pano for the iPhone. Basically, it allows you to stitch together multiple photos to create a panoramic landscape. What's cool about it is you can take a photo, and if you don't like how it looks, you can toss that one away and then construct the panoramic exactly how you want it to be. It actually will put up a ghost image of the last picture you took, so you can line it up with the new one and make sure it stitches together perfectly. I believe it's $1.99 on the App Store. And if you're outdoors a lot, if you like taking panoramic pictures and stuff, it works good for that. It's called Pano. It's on the App Store, and that is my recommendation for the week.
Awesome. Yeah, I've used that one. You told me about that a while ago, and it takes really cool pictures. And
I mean, what you can do with it, you can do a full 360 panorama, and I mean, the detail and everything, and how it lines up the picture beforehand makes it really easy to use. So, and
the farther things are away, the cleaner the segments are. If you're like inside, you can really tell, like with the seams where the wall meets the ceiling and stuff like that. You can tell how it doesn't blend that well. But
exactly,
like for outdoor shots, it looks awesome.
Oh yeah, for doing like a long like landscape kind of shot, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Is that what you used to use, Ray, when you used to do all those tweet pics?
Yeah, any of the panoramic ones that I posted on Twitter, those were from Pano.
Oh, yeah, I've done quite a few on top of Cowles Mountain, looking out over San Diego.
Yeah.
Stitched a few of those together and done quite a few of those on Twitter, on my Twit pics. If you look through those, anyways, you'll see a few.
I have Auto Stitch, the one I bought, which is kind of the same thing. Probably not as good as Pano, but the problem is I always forget to take pictures that way. I always forget that I have that app.
I forget too sometimes.
Well, it takes a little while. I mean, it's not like you can just snap it and beat. I mean, you have to spend some time being there and lining up the picture right if you want it to turn out good. So it takes a little while to get it looking right. But if you have that time,
sweet. All right. Well, my recommendation, I guess, I have fallen victim to your trend here, guys. Doing an iPhone app, yeah. But I talked about it last week. And I figure I might as well just make it a recommendation and talk about it again this week. But it's iPhone app called Now Playing. It's basically a movie location app type thing. It's not just for getting movie times and show times for specific theaters. Basically, you can search by movies, whatever movies are out. It'll give you ratings, which you can have either the Rotten Tomato ratings or Metacritic ratings, and then just sorts those alphabetically so you can search through whatever movies are out right now. You can search by release date, by the title, or by the score. You can search by theater, which you can save like your favorite theater. So if there's for me, I have the closest multiplex, and then I have the two independent theaters that are in San Diego. I have those saved, so they're at the top of my list on the theaters, and I can see what's playing there. And then you can look at the upcoming movies, so you can see movies that are coming up. And when you're going through the movies, you can also mark those. Like if there's a movie you're looking forward to seeing, you can mark it as a favorite. Basically, you can click in. It shows you the movie poster. It gives you the synopsis. Underneath, gives you all kinds of different links to do different things. You can it gives you a link to play the trailer, which is through the Apple trailers, so you can watch it right on your iPhone. You can add it to Netflix, even movies that aren't even out in theater yet. You can add them to your Netflix queue. There's an Amazon link, so you can, if they're already out, on DVD or whatever, you can, it links right to Amazon, and then also has links for IMDb and Wikipedia. And you can also rate, if you do have them in Netflix, you can rate your Netflix thing, give them ratings. You can also search what DVDs have just come out. So if you're big on renting movies or Blu-ray or whatever, you can see what has just come out, what is going to come out. You can sort those by release date or title. And then there's also, they have a Netflix section, so you can check. You can go in, you can check your disc queue, your instant queue. You can rearrange the order of your queue for your movies. Totally edit your lists. And then it shows it's basically like when you go to Netflix. You can go through two different queues. They have the recommended list is on here. What two movies or however movies you rent physically. You can go into your account details or your rental history. So it basically gives you, if you're a big movie fan, you watch movies a lot, whether they're at home in the theater, it's changed so much. It used to be called something else. I don't remember the name, but it's changed so much and it's gotten so good. To where it does all of my movie stuff. If I want to know what movies are coming out and I want to watch, the trailer for it, or just see the synopsis, or just see what's playing. For any questions I have on movies, I don't even go to my computer. I just go to my phone and go to this app because it's way faster, way easier, and pretty customizable to what you like to watch. Whether it's your favorite theaters or movies that you're looking forward to watching get released. So Now Watching, I believe it should be a free app in the iTunes store.
It's called Now Playing or Now Watching?
Now Playing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe it's free. I don't think I ever paid for it.
Yeah, it's. I think it is free.
So
I got it as well.
Sure is.
that is my
Just found it.
iPhone app recommendation. I'm really didn't want to do an iPhone app recommendation because we do so many of them, but I just like that one. That's like one of my favorite apps on my iPhone.
I'm making a promise to our listeners that next week I'm breaking away from this tradition and recommending a new deal. I'm making that promise right now. I'm not sure.
I will join you on that. Next week will be an iPhone app free.
Which will be funny when next week comes around and like Derek's like, I have this awesome
And I'm
movie
like,
movie app.
There's this app called Red Laser.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so funny if you were actually joking. Oh,
I must have been drunk, because I really did not remember Derek talking about that. I apologize for not having that.
That was hilarious.
I'm insulted.
That was so funny when you said that. I was like,
professional during our podcast. Damn it! Stop.
you blew my mind when you went into your recommendation, Justin.
I
brother.
I'm a mind blower.
It's gotten actually really high up on the top paid apps.
Yeah, actually,
works really damn good.
It does,
dude.
Yeah, I've used it for freaking everything, like everything, like Tapatio hot sauce to, the price of this stack of paper or something.
Yeah,
I mean, it's everything.
Well, you're doing it now just to have fun. It's just like, oh, I want to.
Yeah. I'll
Exactly.
and like the picture rarely turns out clear, and it still gets it.
I don't know how. But...
Yeah, it's dark and blurry, and it's like, this is this much. And like when I went and bought all the stuff for my home theater PC, I was at Fry's checking it out. But yeah.
Yes.
So Red Laser got a little bit more love accidentally tonight.
Well, it deserved that extra love it got tonight. So
That was
we'll just
so
call
funny.
it even now, Red Laser.
Yeah.
It's a magical app.
It is.
Well, let's wrap this up, guys. Where can we find more of your mind-blowing stuff on the internet, Derek Helmer?
Derek Helmer can be found at the Derek Helmer blog at derekhelmer.com, DerekHelmer.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Derek Helmer. No vanity here. And you can also watch me on my other show, Studio 20, with Jennifer Townsend. It's actually her show. I just am fortunate enough to be on it every week with her.
Nice.
And hey, she wants to come on the show, so we got to have her at some point.
Make it happen, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
But you can find Studio 20 at blueeyedgirl.com. Girl spelled Gerl.
Awesome. Justin King, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me at my blog thingy at jkdesigns.squarespace.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at JustinKing1 or twitter.com/JustinKing1, I should say, capital J, capital K, and the number 1. You can also find me at facebook.com/JustinKing1. No capitals there, and also the number 1. And that is me in the world of internet.
Awesome. And you can find me at twitter.com/Ray Taylor. You can also follow the Inspired Disorder site updates at Inspired Disorder, or actually twitter.com/Inspired Disorder. There's no E in disorder. And you can find all of the work I do, anywhere from fine art to podcasting and all that good stuff, at inspireddisorder.com. You can also go to inspireddisorder.com/podcast. That would be where you would find all of our back episodes. You can also subscribe to our podcast through iTunes, Zune Marketplace, or your standard RSS feed. You can also leave us comments there, send us emails. We have our little bios on the left-hand side. And as always, you can donate to the podcast. Help support us so we can mess with your brains and screw them up big time. Anyway, and as always, if you have any questions, suggestions, or just want to drop us a line and say, hey, you can email us at inspireddisorder@gmail.com. And we will get back to you as soon as possible and maybe have an episode where we read some emails. But anyway, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Have a wonderful night.